shouldn't matter what you and I want. What should matter is what the Border Patrol wants. These are the men and women who every day work that border, who put their lives on the line for us to stop immigrants, illegal immigrants, to stop drug traffickers, child sex traffickers, terrorists from crossing that border. And so I want to play what that – you got that track ready, Derek? This is a lot from a local station down there on the border, and this is what the Border Patrol agents themselves want. Go ahead and play it.
Wall to the United States Border Patrol means access, roads. It means physical impedance. It means technology. It means personnel. And it may not be the exact same thing everywhere.
Here on the border with Tijuana, where activity is heavy, wall means numerous impediments, ATVs, air patrol, and yes, in some locations, a true physical barrier, 18, sometimes 30 feet high, buried in concrete to keep illegal migrants from digging beneath it.
How deep does the concrete run here?
So minimum of 6 feet. Some places it goes deeper, depending on the height of the fence as well, and the terrain.
They utilize time, terrain.
To the east, that terrain in the Otay Mountains is what makes it difficult for Border Patrol agents to track illegal crossings. Here, a 20-foot fence is not nearly enough. Cameras are also limited because of blind spots, so it comes down to manpower.
But that personnel is our most valuable asset, but it's also our most expensive.
Even further east in remote areas like Boulevard and Jacumba Hot Springs, we've met neighbors on the border who take border security into their own hands, spending thousands building their own fence to protect their land from illegal crossings.
And over the last 30 years, we've spent $20,000.
The fence here, as we saw last week in social media posts from Border Patrol, is not only easy to climb over or under, illegal immigrants just knock it down. But as we've learned, this fence was never meant to be a fence. It's just a stopgap.
It wasn't designed as a fence. It wasn't designed as a border wall, if you will. It's military landing mat that was just left over from Vietnam era. We basically just took scrap metal that the military had and we turned it into a border fence because we knew desperately we needed something to delineate the border.
And just tonight, Border Patrol sent us these pictures. They tell us the first picture shows where the border fence in Campo was cut again last night and then pushed back into place to try and hide the breach. The red marks that were below there were the tracks leading north. Agents followed the tracks with dogs and later found this Ford pickup truck and 24 illegal immigrants hiding in the bushes.
Okay, so landing mats. That's those metal landing mats that they used as temporary airfields in Vietnam. That's
the
what
ones
they're
they rolled
using.
out. Yeah.
They're just putting it up and staking it in place. That's it. And it can be pushed down with the truck.
Mm-hmm. It's just a marker.
It's just a mark.
Like he said, delineate the border, not protect the border.
It's insane that we're not supporting the men and women of the Border Patrol with what they need. No, it's not it's not a 30-foot wall everywhere. I'd like to see a big cement wall, but we don't need it everywhere. These guys know what we need. We should be doing exactly what they're telling us to do, period.
When you hire somebody to do a job and you say, hey, I'll supply the tools, give them the tools.
Yeah.
If they come back to you, say, I need a better hammer, you say, okay, why? They explain it. You give them the better hammer.
I want to know if DHS had border agents like that guy come to that committee hearing that was talking about funding for the border wall and have those guys get in the face of the Democrats and say, I need this wall because people shoot at me on a daily basis. I need this fence because 300 people show up at one time. I'm one guy. I can't stop
Brian
them.
Terry can't testify.
And Brian Terry can't testify. Exactly. Enough is enough. These people need our support. You wouldn't send your military into combat without guns. Why are you sending our Border Patrol agents without a fence, without a barrier?
We were sending them with rubber bullets. Brian Terry, I believe, had rubber bullets.
It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm sickened by it, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk the last thing today. Your thoughts on McCabe's admissions in the CBS.
What I think is hilarious is McCabe, when he goes through this and he says, oh, we were doing this and this and this and this because when we learned this, this, and this, we need to protect the American people from this president, okay? Except he knew darn well that they had faked the evidence that promoted the whole Steele dossier. He knew the Steele dossier was a fake. Yeah. And now he's saying, oh, everything we learned in the document that we faked scares us enough that we want to overthrow the president of the United States.
Exactly.
Did I sum it up correctly?
That's the perfect prelude to what he now says, right? So GPS fusion documents paid for by the DNC, all this, it was phony. Everything was phony about that
and
dossier.
he knew it.
And he knew it. He's the one that used it. And when he realized, this is not going anywhere, I'm going to do something to keep this fire burning. And Derek, you got track 6?
Here is some of their conversation about the first moments after Comey was fired.
I was speaking to the man who had just run for the presidency and won the election for the presidency, and who might have done so with the aid of the government of Russia.
He knows it's not true now, and he knew it wasn't true then.
Formidable adversary on the world stage. And that was something that troubled me greatly.
How long was it after that you decided to start the obstruction of justice and counterintelligence investigations involving the president?
I think the next day I met with the team investigating the Russia cases, and I asked the team to go back and conduct an assessment to determine where are we with these efforts and what steps do we need to take going forward. I was very concerned that I was able to put the Russia case on absolutely solid ground in an indelible fashion, that were I removed quickly or reassigned or fired, that the case could not be closed or vanish in the night without a trace. I wanted to make sure that our case was on solid ground, and if somebody came in behind me and closed it and tried to walk away from it, they would not be able to do that without creating a record of why they'd made that decision.
That same rationale. That's why Comey gave that leak to his buddy when he got fired, knowing that it would spur the Mueller investigation. Same rationale.
Both these gentlemen need to be in prison.
They're not gentlemen.
They're not gentlemen.
They're treasonous, traitorous
They
scum.
need to be in jail.
Yes.
For treason or sedition or both, whatever you want to call it.
It's a coup attempt.
It was a coup attempt to remove a lawfully elected president because they did not like him. They did not like what he stood for. They didn't like the fact that he wanted to drain the swamp. And these guys made the first Russian collusion investigation out of nothing. It was illegal. There was nothing there. And they went ahead and put it together.
To distract from Hillary Clinton's Russian collusion.
To cover up, right?
Yeah.
Because they figured Hillary was going to be reelected and all of this would go away. There would be nothing here. Everything dies. Everything they did wrong against the Trump campaign during the election.
Against the American people.
Against the American people goes away. The real people who were trying to influence the 2016 election weren't the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Democrats and the deep state elites. That's who was trying to influence the 2016 election. And this guy needs to be in jail, and I hope our new Attorney General, William Barr, goes after him.
Yep, it's not political retribution.
Yeah. Okay, well, folks, until next week, go to thedailydrift.com and go to currentonline.com, COURANT online, and support our advertisers. All right, see you next week.
Have a good week.